Hi, welcome back to the Weekly Why. This week we have a double parsha, which is ending the book of Exodus, the book of Shemot. It's parsha Veyakhel-Pukudai. Okay. Now this parsha is very long, and at first glance it seems quite boring. It has Moses really describing the construction of the Mishkan. The Mishkan was the tabernacle, and the tabernacle really was the temple in Jerusalem, which they had before they were in Jerusalem. So it was the traveling temple. And so there are a few lessons, obviously, we can take from this, and I really want to focus on a couple today. One of them in the 38th chapter of the book of Shemot, Exodus, it says that Moses gave the people a detailed accounting of the building materials of the Mishkan. It seems like a very curious thing. I mean, why would Moses? It just seems very out of place. I mean, this is very detailed. Why would the people need to know or care? Why would Moses feel the need to give the people a detailed view of, what the materials being built in the Mishkan are? And so certainly a few ideas there. And one of them, I think we can give an analogy. Imagine you were a CEO of a company, right? And you, as part of your corporate culture, you didn't keep any records, you didn't keep any logs, nothing about revenue or income or hirings or firings. The company wouldn't last very long. And so the idea here is that at every major point, at least according to some of the Hasidic thinkers, at every major point in our lives, we need to be making a cheshbon, an accounting. And so this is what Moses certainly did. In fact, in Judaism, the idea is that at the end of every month we call it Yom Kippur Katan, like a small Yom Kippur. And that's a time for something called the cheshbon hanefesh. It's like an accounting of the soul. In Judaism, it's something very much encouraged that we don't just kind of fly through life. We mentioned last week, talking about the golden calf, that very much growth is a part of Jewish life and Jewish faith, and that certainly we can't hope to grow unless we take an accounting of our lives. And what does that mean? That means that, as Moses did, it means stop and thinking and taking that introspective look and asking, where we've been, where we're going, what our goals are, and what the obstacles in the way are. And so that's something very much that's a key lesson. And certainly, as I mentioned, that's something that Moses did. A lot of the Hasidic thinkers say that this isn't just something that we should do once a year on Yom Kippur when we look back and we think introspectively, but it's something they said, at every major intersection of our lives. And this is one of the reasons Moses did it during the construction of the tabernacle. Now, in the Parsha as well, there's hopefully a key place maybe we can put this into use. At the beginning of the Parsha, actually, and has Moses describing three of the main materials which were used in the Mishkan. One of them was gold, one of them was silver, and one of them was copper. Now, intuitively, you might think that gold would be most superior, and silver second, and copper less so. But in fact, all three were an integral part of the construction of the Mishkan. Some were inside the courtyard, and some were outside. But ultimately, it doesn't really have an impact in the sense that they were all requisite, because if you didn't have one, the entire Mishkan wouldn't be suffice. And so obviously we can see the lesson from that is that really all the parts, no matter how much we might think intuitively one is better, one is less, but they're all interconnected. And so the opportunity for us to, obviously you can see we're talking about humanity here in the sense that every human being plays their role. We talked about that in that last week, and that every single person has that integral role to play, and that we need to live up to that responsibility and the opportunity. And certainly the idea in terms of a cheshbon hanefesh, that accounting the soul, is to take a step back and look introspectively and say, are we really always conscious of that? I mean, you may say, yes, Rob, we know that, that's quite obvious, it's very nice, it's very touchy-feely, but stop and think, ask ourselves, do we really live with that kind of reality? So again, the cheshbon hanefesh, that accounting of the soul, take a step back, look and say, do I really treat others with that recognition of reality that everyone plays that integral role in the development of the world that I do, right? And I think that at least in my circumstance, I can't talk about anyone else, but at least for myself, that's simply not the case. Only with that kind of introspection, only with that kind of accounting of our soul, looking in the mirror and taking an account of where we are and where we want to be, can we hope to achieve that. And so hopefully that's the idea that we can take from that. So again, some of the key ideas from this double parsha is Veyakhel-Pukudai. Hopefully some of the ideas we can take from that. One is that we need to take an accounting of our soul, particularly at every major intersection of our lives, every major event. We can say where we've been and where we want to go and how we hope to achieve that, because it's not just going to happen happenstance. And a good opportunity to put that into place is taught in this very parsha, with the gold, copper, and the silver, where everything plays an integral role. Where we can stop and look and say, just as those played an integral role and they were all absolutely necessary, are we really personally real with the idea that the same with people as well? Okay, so best wishes, Shabbat Shalom, and take care.